Hi there, if you've ever been stuck in a bit of a loop where you've composed something and it's repeating and it's going round and round and round, you really like it and you're sort of grooving with it, but you can't get any further and you get stuck and frustrated, then this is the video for you. This is going to be a slow video where I'm going to try and see if I can show you a few ways of sort of getting around this problem. I'm in the middle of writing a little piano loop that I'm hoping I'm going to get stuck with. You can hear how that's going to loop, and let's do what we do, which is just to sort of layer stuff on top. See what sticks. I think I've got a bit of an idea of what might go on here. Let's see. Okay, those of you who've watched my videos before will know that my piano playing leaves a lot to be desired, and that I tend to sort of just play and correct rather than worry about too much detail. Let's record it this time. Oops, I'm trying to do it on this line here, aren't I? Okay, let's see what this does. Get the right notes to start with. Worse than before. Let's just have another go. Okay, we'll do something with that maybe. Notes in the middle there. Let's get rid of you. That will do. That will do for the moment, won't it? Okay, so let's just say then you have got this little annoying loop. You say getting used to Mac shortcuts. Okay, and you quite like that, it's grooving along and you think, okay, well this is good, how can I make this into a longer piece of music? And the temptation that we all do is that we sit there and we listen. And we sort of hope that we're going to work out what comes next by just sort of listening to it and, you know, stopping. I don't know, let's try again. Then we continue, and you loop round and round and round and round and round and round and round, and you get this earworm in your ear, and you just cannot see the wood for the trees, and you can't get away from it. So my first top tip, even though it's really tempting, is not, if you can help it, to keep looping the damn thing round and round and round and round. And if you have started that and you've got yourself in a rabbit hole and you're stuck, one of the best things I think you can do is to switch the computer off and go for a walk and come back to it tomorrow. Or go take the dog for a walk and come back half an hour later and play it through once to see if anything follows. And actually that does sometimes work. But avoid the looping round and round and round. A fresh pair of ears on it can make a big difference. Okay, what if that doesn't work? Well, let's have a think. What have we actually got here? So in my mind now, I've got the bass line at sort of mid chord and some sort of tune, and I'm hearing this as the tune. So we could do that. We could use that as the tune. Or what about sort of purposing this and thinking, well, actually that's not the tune. This is just an accompaniment part. What about if we use that as an introduction and we improvise some sort of tune type thing over the top of it? So you're reframing what you've got here. It's not really working. You can't think what to do with this tune as it is. Let's just reframe it. Maybe this is the introduction, and actually something happens after this that's got a fresh tune over the top. Let's just see what that sort of does. Can I improvise something over it is the question. Something like that. Okay. Okay, so you've immediately retrospective record. You've immediately got something different just by improvising over the top of it, and actually that can work. Actually, the other thing I did there was that I'm thinking in terms of layers, aren't I? I've got a bass down here, I've got some mid bits, I've got my little here, but then we've got a space here for the melody at the top. So actually I'm thinking in terms of, well, actually I'm stuck in this middle bit here, what can I add that's in a totally different sort of register? So we've now got something, one option is that this becomes an introduction and it's a background part and we just put a melody over the top. I think that works. Okay, so that's one option. The other thing I do, if I got really stuck with this, is I would start something completely fresh here, in the same key, same tempo, so in B flat. So let's try doing that. Let's put this well out of the way. I'm going to start with the bass line, which is what I did when I started on this. Okay. Something like that. That was supposed to be a bass line, but okay. Sort of works. Quantize itself a bit weirdly. Okay, so I've taken the same element, I've got the bass line, Now I'm going to shove some chords in that. I'm going to do something different though. What might do? Can I try that? Not like that. I think that will do. Wrong key at the end, let's have another go. Might have to put my click on as well. Okay, something like. That's the same as the first bar, isn't it? Yes, there. Okay. Let's just quantize those. The end's not right, is it? That'll do for the moment. Right. What did I do here? I had some sort of moving bass. Right. So I've forgotten what the first one sounds like now, but is there any possibility that these might follow on? I don't know, let's see. So I've started to put a bit of a structure together. That's not perfect, but it gets you out of a hole. And I'm sort of thinking A, B, A with tune over the top. Okay, so two ways there then. So the first way is to change your perception of this as a sort of complete thing into an accompaniment and add a melody over the top. Second is to just completely forget it, write a completely different section. This may not happen for work first time, but if you write 2 or 3 little sort of similar loops, one of those at some point will shoehorn onto it, which will move you forward or at least get your ideas going. Next thing, which works really, really well, is changing the cadence at the end. That's leaving a question. If we end it, let's change this a little bit. Let's actually just duplicate it so that I've got a copy of both. I'll do the bass line first. And I'm just wanting to end it on the tonic. Just like that. And let's change this one so it does as well. Okay, well, I'm just going to do something really. That's not great. Okay, but it is ending on the tonic, or the root note. Right, so we've now changed it, so the end is different. It used to end like this. Question mark. This one ends. So what will often happen is that you'll start off with a loop that ends on the root note or ends on the tonic, and in a way you're sort of closing your options off at that point. If you listen to this all the way through, it's sort of a, you know, that is it. It is a self-contained thing. And you can hear that that is much more shut off and much more difficult to continue than this, where you've got this at the end. That just sort of leaves, you know, a question. So if you end up in a loop that ends on the tonic or ends on the root note, I would try and end it with a question up here, end up on the fifth note or something, just to see if putting a question cadence or a question mark at the end leads you into something else and stops you hitting that brick wall. So there we have, well, 3-4 methods that I use all the time to try and get out of the loop problem. The first one being that I try and avoid playing it over and over and over again and hoping that inspiration will strike me and I will know what to do next, because I just tend to personally go down a rabbit hole. Avoid doing that. If you've got yourself into that sort of loop or that sort of vibe, then I would walk away from it. I think I would do something different. I would go for a walk, or I would leave it to next day. If that doesn't work, I would try reframing it. So is what you have written maybe accompaniment? Is what, rather than it being a sort of full thing, is what you have written maybe, is it melody? What happens actually if you take out some of the elements? Does that help you to know where to go? Try adding something completely different on here. Look at the elements that you've got. You've got bass, middle, melody. Are you missing one of those? Can you just change one of those and move on, for example? The next idea is to leave what you've got and to write 2 or 3 contrasting, totally new, different sections, same key, same sort of vibe, same sort of idea. Don't worry about trying to connect them up, and then try to shoehorn them on, and possibly with a little bit of manipulation. That works really, really well. You might end up with a sort of A section and a B section. And the final thing is to try and avoid this closed cadence, this closed full stop going to the root, because that sort of brick walls you. And try changing, if you have done that, try changing the cadence at the end of your annoying loop to a question mark, ending on 5 or 4, the 5th or the 4th possibly of the scale, depending on what you're doing, but avoiding that root note and leaving it open and leaving you the possibility of continuation. Right, well, I hope that was of some help. If you're stuck in a loop, don't worry, it happens to all of us. It's really annoying. Try some of those things to get out. If you've got any ideas of how to do that I haven't covered, that would be brilliant. Let me know in the comments. Thanks ever so much for watching. Bye bye.